Alright guys, the biggest bait banner in Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade is about to release. That is right, I said bait banner. You should not be summoning on this banner if you can help it. Instead, you should be using your tickets to summon on the free gacha, and you should be saving every single cube you can for Yuta, who will most likely be coming out after Junpei if we follow the JP timeline, which is more than likely to happen. Now, the one thing that may change is Yuta might come out a little bit early, which is just a dub for us because they know that global players are going to be saving for Yuta, so they want to get him out earlier, make some more revenue. It just makes a lot of sense on the devs end to release Yuta earlier. So do not summon on this banner. But with that said, if you are a heavy spender or you're going to ignore the advice and spend anyways, we're going to talk about what is featured on this banner, and we're also going to talk about this new event that is coming up, which will reward you a free SSR recollection, which is okay. The future gacha banner, honestly, the recollection might be slightly better that you can pull here than the actual character Junpei, but that's just my opinion. So with all that said, let's go ahead and hop into it. So starting with the free event SSR recollection, it is called Satoru Gojo's Solo Camping. And so what this is going to do, when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, increases own damage dealt by 60%, and the cooldown time is 6 turns. It lasts for 1 turn, so it can be okay for like increasing your damage if you don't have another skill. Personally, I think over damage dealt, it's better to increase like a curse technique or physical technique depending on the character. So this is just okay. And then if you get a limit broken to level 3, when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, increases own damage dealt by 65%. And then limit broken to level 1 at the very least at the start of the turn, if own HP is 50% or below, increases own cursed energy consumption efficiency for 3 turns up to 1 time during battle. That's actually okay, the efficiency thing. The only problem is it has the HP 50% or below. If the 50% or below wasn't there, this event recollection would actually be really, really good in my opinion, because if it just increased your efficiency, that would be very, very solid. But the fact that it requires you to be below 50% HP makes it a bit rough. So overall, when rating this memory and putting it into a tier list, it's actually kind of low on the tier list. So if we go here to the memory tier list and look, you can see Gojo's memory right there at A tier. That's out of double S, S, and A tier, and this is for the damage type. This is for JP players currently as well. This is not just global. It might actually be higher on global overall, but when you talk about the future of the game, it is going to eventually fall off. But I would say in global, like it's on the same level as the Panda memory, which is out right now, right? So just keep that in mind. It's an okay memory. It is free to play. You're going to be able to limit break it to level 5, which is nice because it is going to be one of the few memories you're going to be able to limit break all the way to level 5. The free to play memories are always nice for that, but it's still not going to be top of the tier. The next thing we're going to need to talk about is the Imaginary Youth Recollection. You get this from the gacha on Junpei. And what this one is going to do, when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, recovers own cursed energy by 15. That's actually fairly decent, recovering your own cursed energy by 15 whenever you use a command skill or ultimate skill, and then a 4-turn cooldown on it. So that's going to allow you to use your other moves faster, which is okay, but like not the craziest thing, right? And then when you get it limit broken to level 3, when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, recovers own cursed energy by 20, and then unlocked at limit break 1. This is the thing that is like specific to Junpei. Outside of using this particular page on Junpei, it's not going to be super great. This recollection is not going to be super great. So at the start of the 6th turn from the start of battle, you have to wait 6 turns. First off, that's a bit rough. Increases all enemies' jujutsu damage received by 10% for 2 times, meaning for 2 turns or 2 hits. I think 2 times means actually 2 hits as opposed to turns. They are going to receive an extra 10% damage. If the enemy is inflicted by continuous jujutsu damage poison, which Junpei can inflict, increases the enemy's jujutsu damage received by 20% 2 times. So like it's very specific to Junpei as a character because he is going to have poison, right? So I would say it's an okay recollection overall. It's not the craziest thing, but it's okay. On the tier list, it does all right still to this day on JP. So if we go to the support category and we look over here, it is an S tier still for JP, which is not bad. It's a decent support memory, literally because of the fact that it gives you when a command skill or ultimate skill is activated, recovers your own cursed energy by 15, which can be super useful depending on the stage, but this part down here isn't going to be a ton of use to you. So that's why, honestly, this part right here is what holds the memory back from being a little bit higher in the tier list. But this is a decent recollection to summon for if you are thinking about summoning on the Junpei banner. That is probably what you want to go for. You probably want to go for the recollection over the character. Now, the character, let's talk about the character a little bit. He's not terrible, but he's not great in my opinion. So, characteristic, increases own damage when Tokyo Jujutsu High students are present on the field. That's so simple, right? So easy to achieve. And then his skill 1, Tentacle Thrust, deals 110% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, decreases the selected enemy's Jujutsu damage by 20% for 3 turns. And if you take this to level 10, obviously it changes the amount of percentage, but that is at level 1. So all these, I'm just reading them at base level 1. So keep that in mind. But decreasing the selected enemy's damage by 31.7% is actually pretty useful. Like when you consider taking on bosses where it's just one enemy, that can be decent. So he might be worth it for that particular skill. Skill 2, Moon Dregs, grants attack nullification to self for 1 turn 1 time, attracts all enemies to attack self for 1 turn 1 time, decreases all allies damage received by 10% for 1 turn 1 time. That's a decent protection skill. If it was 2 turns, he would be like so much better. If he did this for 2 turns, he would actually be really, really good. But the fact that he only does it 1 time makes it a little bit rougher. But if you do have a character who can give him back cursed energy to allow him to use this multiple times because the cost is 30 on it, then it might be a little bit more worth it. And if you get it to level 10, he reduces damage for all allies by 19%. So even if there are attack alls from enemies, he'll be helping, you know, mitigate that damage a little bit, which can help. But if you take on stages like Jogo, who enters his domain and you don't stop Jogo from entering his domain, then he'll just damage your whole team and wipe your team anyways with a character like this. So that's why a character like this is not like, even 19% damage reduction isn't quite enough in my opinion. Skill 3, Poison Stab, deals 85% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, deals 30% continuous Jujutsu damage, which is poison, to the selected enemy for 3 turns. So that's where the recollection comes in. Increases the selected enemy's damage received by 10%. If you get this level 10, it increases the enemy's damage received by 15.4%. But once again, the percentage, I would just like that to be a little bit higher, and Junpei would be a little bit better, but I guess he is supposed to be a defender character, not so much enhancer or debuffer character, so it makes sense that they wouldn't make those percentages super high, I suppose, but it's okay. It's not great. Skill 3 is not my favorite. And then the ultimate, That's Not What Life Is About, deals 400% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, deals 120% continuous Jujutsu damage, poison, to the selected enemy for 3 turns, decreases the selected enemy's Jujutsu damage by 30%. So he's really good at helping your team survive by the time he's done all of his skills on one enemy. But if there's multiple enemies, that's kind of where he fails. He doesn't have any attack alls or any way to apply this like type of thing where he reduces the damage they do to multiple enemies, and so that's kind of where he's not as effective, and that's what holds him back from being a better character in my opinion. And then for his auto skills, Don't Hold Me Back, at the start of battle, increases own damage by 7.5%. The more Jujutsu high students are present on the field during the wave, the greater the damage boost. So I mean, I don't know how much the damage boost actually is. I think maybe it's 7.5% per, but it could be different. I'm not sure exactly on that one. Overall, he's a decent character. He's not super crazy. I'll show you guys where JP players rank him. I go to the JP tier list for characters because I think that is the most accurate tier list to show how characters age and how they will be. I think he'll be decent for people on global right now, especially if you don't have Nobara Kugisaki, because he is a yellow type character who can actually carry you through different things. Like for example, some people are still struggling with chapter 8 episode 12, which requires like a yellow character to get through it. It doesn't require, but it's a lot more easy with the yellow character. So if you didn't get Kugisaki, you might be considering summoning on this, and I could see it. Honestly though, my opinion is you shouldn't be summoning on this banner. You should be summoning on the ticket banners, trying to get a version of Kugisaki if you're trying to get a yellow character specifically, or summoning for another character in general. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. So where is he placed on the tier list currently for JP? If you guys look around here, you'll notice Nobara is S tier. Junpei is actually still put into S tier. Now, all these characters in S plus and double S are just leagues above, right? Yaga people are using right now, Gojo people are using right now. They are still double S tier according to JP players. They are very, very good. Yuta, by the way, who is coming out here soon, right after Junpei. The main reason you don't want to summon on Junpei is because Yuta is coming out and he is double S tier. This is the exact reason. Like, otherwise I'd say toss a few summons at Junpei, but because Yuta is going to be coming out, like, I would save every single cube I have, because if you don't get Yuta, it's going to be way harder for you. Yuta is absolutely insane. He does healing, he does damage, he does AoE damage, he has a counter attack, he just does everything. He's absolutely crazy. But yeah, Junpei is not bad overall. He is still better than, like, for example, Green Itadori, who comes out on launch, right? You got the Maki down here, you got Megami down here, you got Toto down here in A, so Junpei is actually higher than them. He's higher than Jogo, who is the free-to-play SSR that you'll be able to get eventually. Like, he has his uses, but he's just not as good as some of these other characters above. And specifically, once again, just because Yuta is coming out, that is why I would pass on this banner. But let me know what you guys are going to do down in the comments. With that said, I want to talk about one last thing in-game. So in-game, there is this Phantom Parade Gacha banner. This banner never goes away. It is always here, and it will actually eventually be updated with more general pool units, so you could technically save your tickets if you wanted to eventually get general pool units. Like, for example, Junpei would eventually be added to this banner, which is why I recommend not summoning on Junpei, because once again, I gotta say this, Yuta is a limited character and he still has not come back on JP. So if you miss Yuta, you might never get him again. Junpei you can get later. He will be added to this banner and you could potentially get him for free, which is absolutely crazy, right? But you're able to earn these tickets. You can get these tickets in various ways. You can get them from the exchange shop, you can get them from the event, you can get them from missions. Save up as many of these tickets as you can, and then go crazy on this banner if you're really needing SSRs. If you're a free-to-play player, all of the original launch day SSRs are here. Itadori, Megami, Nobara, Maki, so on and so forth. Even Gojo is on here. So if you're looking for those characters to help you clear content, just continue going through the events, continue grinding out your missions, and go to the exchange shop and get as many of these tickets as possible. Additionally, there are some event tickets, and I don't want people to miss this. I wanted to point this out in this video. There are some event tickets that you can get from completing the event missions, and those event tickets will eventually allow you to do a multi on the Horizon of Nostalgia banner, where you're going to have just another free summon. So that's a lot of free summons they're giving us. There is no reason to waste your cubes. I highly recommend saving your cubes for Yuta, because Yuta is going to be absolutely broken. And just to show you where to get these special yellow tickets really quickly, I'm going to go into the event tab and show you where they're at. So if you go into the event missions and you go to the normal missions, you will see reset the prize pool 4 times, and I will get another one of those tickets. Pretty simple to do, and you might as well reset the prize pool, because the prize pool has some really good rewards. It has a free SSR recollection. It has more of those tickets, which you need to do more summons, right? And then it has piece of recollection bits, which you can trade for more tickets. It also has a bunch of this stuff here that is going to allow you to level up skills, allow you to level up your characters, so on and so forth. And if you look at all prize pools, you can see every single draw, so make sure you check those out. And last but not least, for the event, I said this in a previous video, but I'll say it again, to make the drawings go faster, go up to the exchange settings here, change it to 100 times, and it'll make it go a lot quicker, so you're not sitting here drawing for every 10. Like, it's going to be really annoying if you guys do that. But in general, my opinion is skip Junpei. Let me know what you guys are doing down in the comments. Are you going to summon for Junpei, toss a few multis at him with cubes? Are you going to do the free ticket summons and hope you get an SSR? Are you going to be saving for Yuta, or are you just going to, you know, if you're going to buy, then whatever, summon for Junpei, right? Are you just going to buy and summon for Yuta and go to pity? But remember, it takes 75,000 cubes to go to pity for a character, because it takes 250 pity. So just keep that in mind when you guys are trying to decide if you want to summon or spend. If this video helped you out at all, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace.